Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Shanna Tingom. She's the founder of Heritage Financial Strategies. Shanna, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I'm excited to be here.
Shanna, tell me a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of folks that you work with?
Thank you. So our work kind of is encompassed in two different things. We do financial planning for a flat annual fee for those folks that are needing help with major life decisions, whether they just want to make better decisions today or they want to have some sort of goal to hit for pre-retirement or up to retirement. We really help them make those hard decisions, and even the not so hard decisions. We're kind of the devil and the angel on their shoulder, if you will, as they work their way through life. And then if those folks want our help managing assets, we also do manage assets, and we charge a percentage of the assets that we manage. But in our practice, you don't have to do one or the other. It's really up to the client, so they can do either or both. And our clients really like that flexibility that they get to choose how they work with us.
So different folks obviously have different requirements and challenges. For those specific clients that you work with, what are their challenges? The real challenges, and also what's in their mind? What are they concerned with?
Well, a lot of our clients are in that sandwich generation. They are raising children, trying to get them off to college, and mom and dad are needing more and more help. And they're trying to balance those two different, very diverse goals and really come up with a way to be able to take care of all of those while making sure that their retirement is still safe and secure. And so we really help folks balance those two things. And in a way, at least our goal is that we do it in a way that sort of makes everybody happy. It makes their parents happy, their kids happy, them happy. And ultimately, everybody gets to win. It's a win-win scenario.
So how about this recent pandemic? Has that made any shifts in how you operate and help clients, or has it made a shift in your client's mindset?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. So we were doing virtual appointments before virtual appointments were cool. So we have clients all over the country because of that. And it really shifted a lot of our clients away from wanting to come into the office. And even if they're a mile and a half down the street, some of them are opting to see us virtually today because it's more convenient. They can do it during the workday and not have to take time off. And so we have a lot more clients that are coming to us that are more comfortable meeting us virtually. And some of those clients are really wanting to retire earlier than they thought they did pre-pandemic because the last couple of years has been rough on a lot of us. And so they're looking for a way to retire a little bit earlier, maybe enter that encore career, or volunteer a little bit before they fully retire. And so it's really shifted their mindset in that way as well.
So they think, do I have enough if I just wanted to stop right now?
I've
I'd
gotten that
imagine.
question for sure.
So, a lot of folks, they kick this financial can down the road quite a bit. Are there any myths or misconceptions that are out there that keep people from, really getting their financial houses in order?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is that you've got to have millions of dollars to need a financial planner, and that just isn't true. We can help you get to the point where you have millions of dollars, but anybody that wants to learn how to manage their money better, manage their investments better, understand where their money and their investments are headed is really somebody that needs the help of a great financial planner like our firm.
So, Shanna, when you start working with folks, do you find any big, glaring, common mistakes that they all seem to make or pitfalls that they all seem to
Mm,
fall into? What are some of
yeah.
those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think the biggest one that we see is them taking the advice of their HR department or a friend at work about what investments to invest in their workplace plan, whether it's a 401k, 403b, or 457 plan. They don't get great advice at work. And so they tend to do the eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick the ones that look the best. And while those might not be bad investments, they might not be the best investments for them. Also, those companies that are lucky enough to have a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k, we often see people completely ignore the Roth side And that is an absolute tragedy, because then that money comes out and is taxed at the end when it could have been taxed going in at a much lower amount. So those are things that we help folks every day look at the difference between Roth and traditional, and which investments go in their workplace plans, because that, for most of us, is our largest investment, our largest asset. And to just kind of pick those things because somebody at work told you that's what you should do, that's just not how it should be done.
So unintentional misdirection from a colleague, for example,
Yep.
is that because like not one size fits all for everyone? Can you give us an example of why they may not realize it's not great to just
Yeah,
copycat?
absolutely. Absolutely. So, we see a lot of, in our area, we have an Intel location not far from our office. So we have a lot of clients at Intel, and they have so many choices in their retirement plan, from the regular 401k. They also have an after tax investment option. So they really have three different buckets they can invest in, as well as certain levels at Intel have an additional retirement option that they can opt into. And if you're talking to somebody that may be a different pay grade from you, or your spouses have different income earning levels, or you're even different ages, they could unintentionally get really wrong advice on how to handle those different buckets that they don't realize is wrong advice until 10, 20, even 30 years down the road when they're getting ready to retire. And so it really needs to be super specific to their situation, how they handle those things.
That is a really great insight, and probably not talked about a whole lot.
Mm.
Shanna, what inspired you to get into financial services and help people get their financial houses in order? How did you get started?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was a secondary music ed major going into college. So this is a huge departure from really where I thought I wanted to be when I was in high school. And I was the kid that was in remedial math in high school too. Probably my clients don't want to hear that, but math is not my strong suit. So when I ended up in the financial services industry, it was a shock to my family for sure. And I have loved it for the last almost 30 years. But what really got me involved in this industry was how I was treated when I wanted to learn more about investing and saving and those types of things. I was in college working 5 jobs to pay my way through. And I made an appointment with the local financial advisor in my small town in Iowa. And I went in and I sat down with him and I said, listen, I don't have any money right now. Someday I hope to, but I don't right now. And yet I know I don't know what I'm doing here. My parents were Depression era kids. Their idea of investing was savings and CDs at the bank. And I knew that wasn't going to get me to where I needed to go. And so I basically just said, help me. Like, I need to learn. I don't know where to go. This was before the internet and all of those things. So I couldn't Google it. And he kind of did one of these and he set his pen down and he reached across the desk and patted me on the head and said, don't worry, sweetheart. Someday your husband will take care of this for you. And that moment changed my life. I got pissed.
Oh my, I'd imagine.
I got really pissed. And I started to read books and learn and do things. And within a few months, I changed my major to business. And that really set me on the trajectory of doing what I do today. And so that is a big focus of my firm. We are not the traditional financial planning firm. We are very much more casual. We're much more about conversations and how this affects you versus the beta and the alpha of the investments that we offer. We have all of the letters behind our names to talk about all of those things, but we really care more about you and how what we're proposing is going to impact you now and in the future. And that all stems back to that conversation I had almost 30 years ago now.
That's terrific. Shanna, for folks listening, before I ask you my last question, if they're considering working with an advisor, what would you say is the most important thing to look for in that person?
Yeah, that's a great question too, because I think for me, I compare our relationship that we have with clients to a marriage. You have to really like that advisor and the firm that they work for, because it should be a long-term arrangement. The longer you work with your advisor, and there are statistics and studies that prove this, the more successful you are at achieving your financial goals and having those investments that match those goals. And so you really want to take your time to do your due diligence on the front end, and you've got to like talking with them. You've got to understand what they're talking about when you do talk with them, and you've got to leave that meeting feeling, good, have that warm and fuzzy feeling. And if those things don't exist, it's not going to be a fulfilling relationship on both ends. So to me, that's the most important thing when I'm looking at bringing in clients to our firm. We want to make sure that we really do enjoy working with them, because life's just too short not to.
For folks tuning in that would love to speak with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Yeah, for sure. So heritagefinancialaz.com is our website. Click schedule in the top right corner, and you'll be directed to a page where you can schedule right there a time to speak with me or any of the wonderful advisors on my team. And if you're in the Phoenix metro area, in Tucson or Albuquerque, we can meet you in person. If you're anywhere else in the country, we can meet you virtually, and we'd love to do that.
Shanna, this has been terrific. Absolutely fantastic insights. I appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Oh, thanks so much, Mark. I really appreciate you having me.
That was Shanna Tingom, the founder of Heritage Financial Strategies. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.